As of 2024, 40% of all children own their own iPad by the age of 2. This number jumps to 58% by the age 4. A small little Google search I did on iPads because I just got a second iPad. That's right, for my children. Let me talk about this with you and whether or not these things that originally were designed to be a mobile computer basically have become the new pacifier. It's the modern day pacifier, I think. I mean, these things, I don't know. So I have two littles, and they now officially both have an iPad. And the reason for that is it doesn't seem like they can go more than a couple of hours without watching some kind of screen. And it's leading me to think, as a dad, what are these things really doing? So today I took the time to set this thing up, and I put some different like screen time settings, some locks. There's a lot of actually cool things that Apple has now for parental controls that are built in. They each now have their own profile, so they can log in, and they have their own apps. They have their own basically everything, their own iMessage, everything that they can do, and you can control who and who they cannot message. So that's even pretty cool too. So it is a good thing. I think it's a cool thing, but is there such thing, like what are these actually like negative consequences these have? My thing is like social skills. You know, for example, we went to dinner this evening and with the family, and right away they wanted the phone or the iPad because, we have to sit down. We were waiting for a table, and then we had to wait for service, and then we had to wait for food, and they just don't have, the capacity to sit there and just have a conversation. Now I get it. We're dealing with toddlers, 4-year-olds, 7-year-old, I understand. But back when I was a kid, I mean, we didn't have these things. We just colored, or I don't know. I don't even know. Played Game Boys. So is it really that different than a Game Boy? That because you had a screen then as well. So those that say like all the negative things, I don't really think it's a negative thing, but it does bring up the question of, does this affect the social skills, meaning the socialization, the ability to interact and strike up a conversation and carry a conversation at a table, whether it's just out in public with anybody. Not that I want my kids just randomly talking to strangers, but as they grow, that's a skill set that I have, that I like, that I love, is the ability to strike up a conversation with a stranger, because it's fun, it's good. The other thing is, the education. I will sometimes overhear my daughter asking Siri, questions, about everything, whether it's YouTube. I literally heard her ask Siri something about Mr. Beast, and I was like, what the heck? But, educational, I think these can be educational tools as well. Now, let's face it, I would say 80% of the time they're watching YouTube. They're watching YouTube, they're watching Disney. There's some educational games that my older daughter plays on these things that the school actually encouraged and set up accounts for. Even the schools are using iPads now. They actually have us filling out a form at the beginning of the year, whether or not they wanted to have access to bring the iPad home or not. But, it's just kind of one of those things. I don't really know. I think it's a good thing, but I do think that as a parent, you have to set up these parental controls and these guidelines. You have to kind of watch what they're doing, because they have access to the internet on these things if you don't limit that, right? And that's where it can get kind of weird. But I will tell you from personal experience, the iPad has saved us on flights. It's saved us on car rides. It's also caused fights because, one's watching it, the other wants to watch something different. Hence, I had to buy a second one. So if you have kids, I want to know what your thoughts are. As a dad, I'm always trying to be the best that I can for my daughters. I want to teach them, and I want to let them learn. But I also don't want to just be like that. You can't watch the iPad because you can't watch the iPad. It's like, why? There's got to be a reason behind it. So, short video today, but I did want to bring up the iPad. And I will say this too. because I can already see some comments, where, oh, iPads and technology, they're gonna rot the kid's brain and all that. Well, no, that's not what's happening here. And if you don't have kids, you probably cannot, relate to this, and your thoughts on this, they don't. If you don't have kids, you don't understand what it's like to have a kid in the back screaming and throwing a tantrum when all they want to do is watch their favorite Disney show or watch a YouTube video of a little kid playing with their toys. It's the weirdest stuff. They have all these toys of their own that they could be playing with, but they rather watch a YouTube video of kids playing with their toys. I don't understand it either, but it's a thing, and I think that it's pretty cool, but it's also something that you have to monitor. So anyways, that's my thoughts on the iPads. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you think that I'm crazy for buying these for my daughters to entertain themselves with, I don't think I'm crazy, and it doesn't really matter because this is what I choose to do. This is what keeps us sane, and it allows my wife and I to have conversation while we're at the dinner table. We do have rules, like when the food comes and all that good stuff, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing if you set it up right and you monitor it. That's the biggest thing. If you just give it to them and let them do whatever, then that's just lazy. But using it because that it brings them, fun, entertainment, and it keeps the peace in a sense, I think it's a good thing. Guys, thanks for watching. By the way, I didn't even talk in the beginning. My name is Eric. If you stumbled across this channel, we're in the middle of a 30-day challenge. We're doing a video once a day for 30 days, and we are currently on day 6. So if you watch this video, please give it a thumbs up if you got anything out of it, and seriously, let me know in the comments your thoughts on the iPad for kids, and we will see you tomorrow.